Bring it on. Good morning, Sam. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well. How are you?
Yes, I am very well also. Welcome, friends, to this week's Jack session. We hope that you're doing okay. And you may be listening to this or watching this in a week where you maybe have gone back into school for a bit, especially if you're in year 10 or year 12, or in year 1 or year 6. But I'm pretty sure no year 1s or year 6s are watching this. In which case, they probably stumbled across it by accident.
Welcome to all of our year 1 listeners.
And now for our new regular year 1 slot, over to Sam, who is going to talk to you about this week's Peppa Pig episode or something like that.
So, Daddy Pig. This week's episode is brought to you by triangles. Can you say triangle?
Oh my gosh, Sam! I've just glimpsed something that this is clearly a vocation. Children's presenting. I think you could, although I think you might scare some children. I think you might need to.
It has been known.
Anyway, we're glad you're here, even if you're in year 1 or year 6. And we hope you're adjusting to whatever kind of changes are happening at the moment. And this sort of as the lockdown is being eased, and we're obviously recording this a little bit in advance of when you might see this. So the world might have changed completely by this time next week, and we don't know. But we hope wherever this finds you, it finds you well, and that you're okay. And always our goal in these Jack Session videos is to chat about things which not only distract you from the mundane things of life, but also hopefully provide you with a little bit of encouragement and a bit of food for thought and stuff which will help you in your kind of mental health and your own self-esteem and sense of self-worth and being valuable and emotional self-awareness and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
Isn't that right, Sam?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, you know what? I just got a notification on my phone. Sorry, this is a distraction. Notification on my phone. I've been like
distraction inside a distraction.
Yes, yeah. It is. That's true. eBay, right? So I'm trying to buy a couple of T-shirts on eBay, and they tell you like you're the highest bidder with like a minute left, and then within 5 seconds of the end, it says you've been outbid, and then you don't have time to enter a new bid.
Yeah,
I'm not liking that.
It's that sniper thing, isn't it?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Isn't there a thing? Maybe I'm completely making this up, or I might have dreamed this. I had a really weird dream last night about goblins. It was like a fairy tale. It was amazing, but crying up scary. So it's realistic that I might have dreamed this.
Okay.
Isn't there a thing on eBay where you can buy this like weird sniper thingy, which basically means you upgrade your account that allows you to do that, to like outbid somebody at the last second?
I'm not up for that. That's cheating.
It's probably lucrative, I imagine, but yeah.
It is lucrative. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying the sniper app.
You continue to be a clean living.
Yes. I'm going to bid fairly and squarely.
Walk around in T-shirts that we've hustled for.
That's right. And to be fair, I did think with like a minute to go, and I was the highest bidder, I thought, if I win this, that'll be cool. But if I don't, it's not the end of the world. So I was ambivalent. But the more I've thought about it, the more I'm annoyed that I got outbid with 5 seconds to go. There was no one else bidding on it. Nobody in any activity. I'd made a bid about a week ago for this thing, and when the listing finished, I was like the highest bidder up until 5 seconds before the end, and then someone outbid me by like £1. That's
so annoying.
Yeah. So I feel like it's like I didn't really want it, but I wanted to win.
But now it's been stolen from me. Also, you've been robbed of the best bit, which, as we all know, and as science proves, thank you, Jeff Goldblum, that it's the moment before opening something.
Yes.
That is the bit that really, right? You've been robbed of that.
You know it. I've been robbed of it. Been robbed of that. Anyway, we should start talking about something meaningful. Biscuits. Biscuits are meaningful. Biscuits always feature in Jack sessions. And today, Sam, my colleague came round to my house at 8 o'clock this morning and dropped a pack of M&S milk chocolate cookies on my doorstep. And then we had a staff meeting via Zoom at like 9:30, and they texted like 2 minutes before saying, look outside your doorstep, to like everybody. And they've been round to everybody and put like bags of cookies and assorted pastries and a bunch of flowers on my wall. Hang on, there's the phone ringing. Just let me get that. Sorry about that, friends. There was a brief hiatus in our chat call. Somebody had just rang the office phone, which never rings, and I'm manning it, and it's just there. Anyway, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, I was telling you that someone had dropped some cookies and some pastries around before our staff meeting, which was very nice. Made me feel very appreciated. Which is what
I feel like there's a weird sort of thing happening with this today, where it's just like you're coming in here, giving it large with your cookies and your pastries and your I'll pause it whenever I want to take phone calls. Like, are you gonna eat one of those cookies in front of me now, aren't you? You're just gonna take one of them out and you're gonna.
Oh, it's nice. I'm dropping it everywhere. Amazing. It's buttery. It's like soft. It's a bit crunchy as well.
Soft and crunchy. They're two of my favourite things.
Very nice. It's very rich. It's a good cookie. I'm going to put that back in the bag.
Can I ask you a question then?
Please do.
So what you're telling me is, today, what has happened in your life is one of your colleagues came to your house, dropped food off at your door, and then had a meeting with you later on.
Yeah.
Interesting. Really
a meeting via Zoom, not in person.
No, that's just very interesting to me, because I don't know if you've heard of a little thing called paying it forward. But today also what has happened is you are having another meeting with another one of your colleagues.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm not even going to look out the window just because I feel like I know what I'll see.
Yeah. You see, Sam, this is where back at you, even though you jest, if you look out of your window now, you will see on your extensive lawn a hot air balloon and ready-made picnic that I have provided. It's currently anchored to your fence post and ready for you and Hannah just to slip into and drift off into the sky with a beautiful picnic with champagne and strawberries and all manner of.
I wondered why there was been a guy called Jeff in my garden all morning going. One day I will, something like that will happen. But maybe I'll get to you first.
Yeah, maybe you will. But you won't know the time or the place.
No, outdo each other and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Pay it forward.
Okay. Sounds like a generosity off.
Absolutely. Let's do a quick 1 to 10. How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10 this morning, Sam? 1 being awful, 10 being amazing. Just while I continue to eat my buttery, tasty cookie.
I'm going to go with, today I am going to go with a 7.
Okay. You tell us for why?
Casual 7, standard 7, because I'm feeling a whole range of things, and it's very difficult to sum it up in a number as per usual. But I would say I'm a 7 because I'm feeling pretty chill about it right now. Right. There's a lot going on. I've got a lot to do. But right now I'm feeling pretty relaxed about it all getting done. Maybe too relaxed. Hannah refers to me regularly as a time optimist.
Time optimist. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, which is frustrating for her because she's much more punctual than I am. But I'm a time optimist, so I kind of feel like, yeah, we've got time. Like about everything all the time.
Yeah. That's good. I like that. I think that's good quality.
Well, it gets you in trouble sometimes. But.
It does get you in trouble sometimes, but it contributes overall to being not being a slave to time. Which I know is something that I've criticised you about before. Because there are sometimes when being a slave to time is a useful thing, such as being on time to school and things like that.
Being on time to do my job that I'm paid to do. Yes.
Things like that.
Exactly.
Fundamental, yes.
Yeah. That's quite right. It's quite right too. It's quite
Well, I'm
right.
glad you're feeling chill about it now. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Appropriately chill, I hope, but we'll see. Ask me again in a week.
Okay, I will.
How about yourself? Where are you at on the grand scale?
I would say I've definitely been boosted by my colleague's blessing this morning. That's
What a boost.
up at least a 0.5. Like when my alarm went off today, and it goes off a little bit later than like it does in normal working things, because you don't have to get up, get dressed, and get into work. Get in the car and drive anywhere. So I got up in the shower, but when my alarm went off this morning, I literally was fast asleep and I had to snooze a few times. It took me a long time to get out of bed this morning, and I was feeling a little bit like, oh man. But I knew that we had some time to spend together today recording some of these sessions, so that was looking forward to that. So I would say I'm about a 7.6. 7.8. Let's go 7.8. I would have been about a 7.2, but I think I've been boosted by the arrival of the cookies of blessing.
See what a huge boost a cookie can be, friends.
Unbelievable.
A well-placed cookie.
Yes.
I think cookies, right?
Yeah.
There are lots of things in life that are little boosts, like a well-timed compliment or a appropriately expressed hug, something like that, But those ones they are fraught with danger. You can sometimes compliment somebody and they take it the wrong way and end up being insulted or offended. Yeah. You can sometimes offer to hug somebody and a similar situation unfolds. A cookie, never wrong.
Low risk.
A cookie is never wrong, friends.
That's true. Unless somebody who you're offering the cookie to is struggling with overeating and you're putting temptation in their way, and offering them a cookie might, if they're, in a particularly bad place regarding, their diet or needing to lose some weight or something like that, and then you've assumed that giving them a cookie will make them happy. I tell you why I say this. Often when I'm in social situations and there's food involved, especially like Chinese or Indian, and you've got a takeout and there's always some left over, and the person who's kind of running the show is like, anyone want any more? And they'll ask everybody and no one will say anything, including me. And then I will invariably be the first person in the room that they go, come on, Chris, you can have some more of that. Because they just assume that I'm going to eat more than everybody else. Which is a bit of a diss, I think. It's like, why do people always do that? I mean, they're right. The problem is they're right. It's like, yes, I'll finish that pack of samosas. Of course I will.
I have, very, very similar experiences. Normally with family, where it's like, I'm the family dustbin, It's like, well, I just... Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, Chris. I still don't think there's ever a wrong time to offer someone a cookie.
No, I think
it's about the way you offer it.
I think you're probably right. I think it can communicate all kinds of things.
Tell a lie. There are some people sort of like who have intolerances to various things.
Yes.
Not all people with intolerances to various things, but there are some people, a small portion of those people, who get quite offended if you forget their intolerance,
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
That can happen.
Yeah. I forget what our good friend and colleague V can and can't and doesn't eat. So I feel like when I say, oh, do you want a sandwich? I'm like, oh, she doesn't eat bread, wheat. I can't even remember now. That's terrible. She's probably going to watch this as well. Sorry, V. Like, yeah. So I forget who eats what and why and when and not sometimes.
I think we're going to have to start talking about something, because now I'm just depressed that you can't even offer someone a cookie in this day and age.
That's true. So in the last few sessions, we have looked at a few different emotional needs, and we're going to carry on doing that today. And today's particular emotional need that we're looking at, Sam, is the need for approval. Why are you laughing?
No, just, yep.
You mean how we can move seamlessly from refusing a cookie to talking about approval in 30 seconds?
No, I'm just, the state of the world, Chris. That's what it is, the state of the world.
So I expressed to you how somebody doing something nice, like dropping a bag of cookies and a pan au chocolat on my doorstep this morning, made me
chocolate pain.
It made me feel appreciated very much, which is one of my top emotional needs. I've known that for quite a long time. Clearly, they probably knew that as well, so they kind of put it on there as a way of saying thank you for what you're doing, and we're glad you're part of our team and that sort of stuff. So that's a good thing. It's a good appreciation boost, and it probably made me feel quite approved of as well. And we're talking about approval today. That's today's approval. Now, let me read you what the definition is, and then I'm going to gauge your thoughts on this. Hang on, where's the little thing that tells us what? Here we go. Approval is feeling built up or feeling good about myself, others valuing my friendship or who I am. So feeling built up or feeling good about myself, others valuing my friendship or who I am. So it's a little bit of a step on from the acceptance thing we were talking about last week, Sam, isn't it, I reckon?
Yeah, it's very similar, isn't it? Acceptance, appreciation, and approval all can come together for a lot of people. But you might kind of major on one more than the other, maybe, might be true. I guess with approval, when I think about approval, because you use words there like feeling built up and feeling valued, there's something in there that's a little bit more like if somebody comes to your door and gives you cookies, unless you're a gluten activist, unless you're a gluten activist who's on a diet.
Gluten activist, like someone with a banner, I think that says gluten has rights too, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, let's not go there. Carry on. Sorry.
You're gonna feel accepted and/or appreciated, probably, and hopefully you're going to feel some sense of approval.
Yeah.
But if you in that work meeting that you had later on, they had said, right, we're now just going to do our weekly, monthly staff awards or something, and Chris, we just want to give you this award because this month we really feel like you've been a really great support to people, or you've been a real encouragement, or we really value the work that you've done.
Keep talking.
And you're kind of
changing the battery. Go on.
Being kind of singled out and significantly recognised.
Yeah.
That is potentially more what I think of when I think of approval, is you're being singled out in some way. Whereas acceptance is you're being kind of acceptance is like you're being included, right?
Yep.
You're included if you're accepted.
Yep.
Approval is a little bit more like it's singled out.
Okay.
I think.
So how do those three things link together? You mentioned the kind of closeness between being accepted, being appreciated, and being approved of. Is there like what are you if you're those three things? You came up with something earlier that was like, this is this, but this is this, and I think it was really helpful.
Again, these three they're hard to pick apart, these three, but I would say that if you need to feel like you are part of something, that you are a part of the group, then that is acceptance.
Yeah.
And I think if you need to feel thanked, or that people like that you're there,
recognize
that is like an appreciation thing. Like, thank you for being part of this. We are glad that you're part of this.
Yeah.
But approval, I think, is something more individual, and that you're being identified within that, and we're excited almost. We're grateful that you are part of this. You specifically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but again, they're difficult to unpick from each other. And if you have an emotional need in one of these areas, there's potential that you probably have emotional needs.
Yeah.
In this kind of, like, they're quite grouped together, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if to know that you're approved of is more than just tolerated, isn't it? You're not just tolerated. You're not just kind of, people don't just go along with it and go, oh, that's just what they're like. So you kind of accept that. There's a little bit of a resignation maybe with accepted, like, oh, you know, that's, so I'll use our relationship as an example. And this is a little bit tongue in cheek. So I value loads of things about you, and we kind of joke about the kind of timekeeping thing and the fact that you might turn up late for school. I accept the part of you that is going to be late, because that's kind of part of what you're like. It doesn't mean I approve of it. So I don't encourage you or proactively approve of you being 5 minutes late to school, but it doesn't change my acceptance of you. Do you see what I mean? And that's kind of taking it to a bit of a different level. But I think if we have a need for approval, it's like we're looking for somebody to not just be glad we're there, not just be happy with what we contribute, but have a need for our contribution. Like they proactively, deliberately communicate value to us because they need us. And we all like to feel that at some time or another. But I think to have that specific need of approval, it's like you're not just, oh, that's just what they're like, but they're kind of, that is what they're like, and we're really grateful for that, and we really need that in our dynamic. So yeah. How might, if we have a need to kind of be approved of, sometimes it can result in us trying to do things a little bit like we talked about with acceptance. Sometimes it can lead to us doing things which don't really come naturally to us in order to try and win somebody's approval. And that can sometimes be quite negative, can't it? Because we end up, again, like we've talked about with some of these other emotional needs, end up doing things which can be quite detrimental just for the sake of seeming like we need to win somebody's approval. And that's something to be aware of. And maybe we have to check ourselves in that and think, okay, am I really being me, or am I just doing this to make somebody like me, or to try and pretend to be something I'm not in order to win their approval? Because really genuine approval comes when people literally do value us for who we are. We don't have to put on a show. Like, I approve of you because you're my friend and you bring lots into my life. And that isn't dependent on you being on time. I just approve of you. Like if you had a need for approval, I hope that you would feel approved of when you're around me, because I approve of you. I'm demonstrating hopefully approval of, and I'm, that's not a very good example, but you know what I mean. So how might anybody listen to this go about getting, as you smash some cups, go about getting that need for approval met in a positive way? This is a bit of a tricky one.
Approval is definitely a tricky one, and obviously with a lot of these things, like we're not sitting here as trained psychologists, so we're like thrashing this out between us as we go. And I don't know what you think about this theory. Just before I get onto your question, is I think sometimes, at least for me, and maybe what I feel like I've seen around me, but it's always better to talk about yourself because we never really know what's going on in somebody else. Is approval can be a bit like a pendulum. So you've kind of got, if you imagine the bottom of the pendulum, so let's say 6 on the clock, is kind of like acceptance.
Yeah.
And then moving up to about kind of 7 or 8 is appreciation. And then moving up to 9 or 10 is approval.
Yeah.
And I think often in life, and this isn't always true, but I think certainly for me, the worse I feel, if you imagine the other side of the pendulum, the worse I feel about something, the more I need the pendulum to go the other way for me to feel okay.
Yeah.
So if I just don't feel that accepted, if I'm at kind of like 5 on the clock, then I probably just need a bit of acceptance to make me feel okay. Yeah. But if I feel really horrible at something, or I feel really bad about myself in a certain area, then it might take somebody really going out of their way to approve of me in that area and say I can do it and that I'm okay, for me to feel okay.
Yeah.
And I think it can be a lot like that, certainly in my own life.
Yeah. I think you're right.
And that shows us, if anything, the power that we each have.
Yeah.
Because just as you said right then, really lovely, encouraging things to me that made me feel good. Like, I obviously have a lot of love and respect for you, but you are just a human man. But right there in that moment, you had the power, just by being a human being, to, unless that was you.
My dog wanted to get out. Let me just go and let him out. Keep talking.
For you, in that moment, you had the power to make me feel accepted or appreciated or approved of.
Yeah.
Like, you, in that moment, helped me meet my emotional need.
Yeah.
And we all know people in different spheres of our lives that feel different ways about themselves,
yeah.
but we all have the ability to help somebody else feel accepted. There might be somebody in one of your friendship groups who definitely seems like they don't feel very accepted. They might just need a little bit of acceptance to help them feel okay.
Yeah.
There might be somebody else in your life, maybe a sibling, that feels absolutely awful about themselves, or really thinks they're incapable. They're terrible at football, or they'll never be able to drive, or whatever it is. And maybe pushing the pendulum a bit further and trying to really show them that they're approved of might help them feel okay. So I know that's a bit long, but I really want to encourage everybody listening to this, that you have the power to help somebody else meet their emotional needs. Yeah. Obviously, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that that is fraught with potentially dangerous things, and potentially negative things as well. But yeah, I don't know if you want to, if you have any examples maybe of where people have needed to feel approval and have maybe not met it in a great way, where maybe their pendulum has been so far back that they've needed it all the way forward. And that pendulum picture is definitely not true of everybody.
Yeah, sure.
It could be helpful.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of conversations I had with different people. I think approval is very much related to our personalities and character rather than just the stuff that we do. So when we in the session where we talked about appreciation, appreciation is about the stuff that we do, the stuff that we deliver. So say if you're part of a a small group, or a group in your drama class or something like that, with a group of people, you might appreciate the things that they bring and the things that they do. But approval is like a next level up from that. It's approval is of you as a person, not just of the stuff you do. Appreciation is maybe a bit more surface level. It's and maybe appreciation is a thing that often we get from teachers. My dog's just licking my hand. Hello, let me introduce you to Junior. Hello, Junior.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Have you just come to say hello? You want to look on the phone? You want to look at the thing? You say hello.
Junior.
Say hello. Hello, dog. I appreciate Junior, but I appreciate him the most when he just lies there quietly and doesn't demand anything from me, and that kind of thing. Now, it's interesting. Think about this as an example on a school level. If we have a need for approval, it's unlikely, no matter how good our teachers are, that we're going to get approval from our teachers unless we are producing the work that they want us to produce. That's more of an appreciation thing in some way. Our teachers will probably approve of us when we're doing well and handing work in and doing and contributing in class. But because their relationship with us is based on, or with you guys, listen to this, is based on the things that you do, and they will be happy for you to be in their class and approving of you and appreciative of the work that you're doing if you're contributing positively. You might feel that your teacher only approves of you when you're doing well, but they don't approve of you when you're misbehaving or not handing in work. So it's kind of conditional. I think approval is a bigger thing, and maybe is something that we need to deliberately look for in our closest relationships. those of you that have good relationships with your parents will probably have been told at some point, hopefully by your mum maybe, that they love you and appreciate and approve of you no matter what you do. You may be listening to this and have been in someone who's been in loads of trouble and felt really bad about it, and know you have to apologize to your mum. And at some point, when you've apologized, your mum, or hopefully somebody close to you, or an older brother or sister or something, might have said to you, you know what, even though you've done this, it doesn't change that I still love you, I still approve of you, I still, that's real approval. It's like, it isn't dependent on the surface stuff. It isn't dependent on us behaving well or working hard or being a positive or bringing a positive contribution. It's fundamentally underneath approving of who you are as a person. Yeah. And that's a thing that's almost unique to family and very close friends, because it takes a certain degree of relationship in order to be, to approve of you. If you feel constantly that you're somebody significant in your life, like a parent doesn't really approve of you unless you're behaving yourself, then that's quite difficult to live with. If you feel like your mum only really likes you and is happy with you when you're staying out of trouble, that might make you feel like, well, actually, that's a bit surface level. I want something more than that. And I'd encourage those of you listening to this to maybe talk with your parents if you can, or older siblings, or whoever it is, an adult in your life, about that need for feeling, and help them understand what you need in order to feel good. Because like you said, Sam, we all have a part to play in helping, build up one another, and we can all do that. We can do that ourselves, but other people can do that for us. So I think the approval thing is deeper. It goes deeper than appreciation, and maybe even deeper than acceptance. It's a positive. It's not just I tolerate you. It's not even just I'm glad you're here. It's like I fundamentally approve of who you are. I'm for you as a person. I want you to succeed. You add something to my life. You are a positive influence. You are, it's a very positive thing.
Yeah. And I think there's like all of these things, there are layers. So for some of you listening to this, the kind of approval that you feel like you need might be that more, not surface level, but that more public level potentially, of being singled out in a class context, or sporting achievement context, or an art context or something, as having done particularly well. For others of you, and for most of us on one level or another listening to this, the approval that we need is that deeper approval that you're talking about, that we are not just accepted, not just appreciated, but that we are approved of, that there is. And then you're getting towards definitions of what love is, I think, in what you were just saying.
Absolutely.
I think it's really powerful. And I know that we've been going on about this one, but a couple of little things that we say most times is, number one, be careful whose opinions you're letting into your life.
Yeah.
Whose opinions are you letting in? Because it's so important to surround yourself with people that not just are going to tell you that you're great, but that are going to be honest with you, and are going to love you enough to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So whose opinions are you letting in? And a second thing that we don't say so often in this kind of black and white context, but I think it's really true, it's definitely been true for me, is a part of becoming an adult, a part of having an adult-to-adult relationship with your parents, is being able to have adult conversations with them. And for some of you listening to this, that might still feel a little way off. But as you get older, a big part of becoming an adult and establishing an adult-adult relationship with your parents is being able to have conversations like these with them.
Yeah.
So I just want to encourage you that they might not always feel very comfortable conversations to have with your parent, of, Mum, I don't feel very approved of, or Dad, I really feel like I need more approval in my life. But I want to encourage you that it is possible, you can do it, and you will get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We better wrap things up for today.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Sam, for your thoughts. As ever,
Thank you.
we hope that's helpful. They're going to be these kind of videos. We're throwing thoughts around, and they're probably going to throw up a whole load of questions for you. So if there's stuff that we've talked about that kind of hits on things a little bit, and you want to unpack that a little bit more, particularly around those key relationships, what Sam just said about relationship with a parent. I mean, there's a lot of communication things involved in that. There's a lot of, kind of heart to heart. How do you manufacture a heart to heart conversation with a parent to help them understand what you're really feeling? I think we all want that, but that's quite difficult. Particularly at the moment when you've been hauled up at home, probably with your mum for what feels like months and months on end. And we'd love to help with any of that. So if there are things that we talked about that is very like personal and specific to you, and you want to kind of follow that up, then do get in touch with us. Do mention it in the comments. We'd love to chat with you either over the phone or whatever. So make sure you get in touch with us, and we can unpack some of this stuff a little bit more, because it is really significant and really important, and could potentially be the difference between us feeling really down and bad on ourselves in these times when there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty going around. Being emotionally self-aware is one of the best things that we can invest in and build within each of us. So we'd love to help with that if we can.
Absolutely. And know, if you're listening to this, part of the Jack family, that we approve of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not dependent on, whether you're nice to us or anything like that. Good. Thanks, guys, for listening to this. It's lovely to see you as ever. We'll be back next week, and we'll continue with our series on emotional needs. From all of us at Jack, we love and appreciate you and approve of you, and we'll see you again very soon.
Bye.